And let's go straight to Punch. That's our very first paper, the first salvo for this morning. The front page of the Punch has this: traders loses Naira rebounds to 720 to a dollar. 720.
The Naira is jumping around like a skipping rope from 910 to 720 in 6 days. It's almost like we don't even know what is going.
Currency jumps from 910 to 720 in 6 days.
Wow.
How EFCC clamped down, market sentiment reverse Naira slide. BDC operators resist Naira rebound, hold back greenback purchase.
Aha! So people have sold their dollars.
Yes.
Now they want to buy the dollars back.
Yes.
The Bureau de Change is refusing to sell.
And aside that, I mean, I got into a conversation with one of them yesterday, and he said the Bureau de Change operators are crying. Let me put it that way. And I said, what's going on? Why? He said, when the dollar rose up to 910, they all invested in it. They got a whole lot of it.
Thinking it was going to keep.
They were even buying from people. They thought it would keep going up. And all of a sudden it crashed to 720, and they're like, how? So they have a lot of dollar. They've invested, they've bought so many, and now they're thinking, we're at a loss.
They're making a mistake.
Yeah.
But I guess that's the risk that comes when it comes to financial markets. You can't predict the market. The market right now is very unstable. So many policies are affecting the strength of the Naira, the policies that are being implemented, the revaluation of the Naira, or redesigning of the Naira rather. We knew it was going to impact our currency strength. So there's so much that is happening. The festive season in some way impacts the strength of the Naira.
Yeah.
So right now, you can't even predict which way it goes.
You can't. Over 50-something billion already gotten from the CBN.
Well, CBN should be happy they brought back their monies into the banking.
Bring back our monies. Yeah. Okay, let's move on. A sad story there on the front page. 11 die as Kogi protesters barricade road with tanker.
Oh, wow.
It's sad how fire ignited and how people were actually caught in the inferno. It's a story you might want to read as well inside of the Punch. Lagos, Port Harcourt likely to witness weather catastrophe. Lagos, Port Harcourt likely to witness weather catastrophe. Not about the rain of yesterday though, but something to read to get some more information. You find that story inside of the Punch, page 15. Woman plunges into lagoon after argument with fiancé. Now this story is one everyone has been talking about all through yesterday. Apparently she had a successful life. She was doing well. She works with the DSS. She was recently encouraged and also, in other words, promoted, and she had eulogies all over her and all that. And then her fiance proposed to her, said to get married to her, and all of a sudden, she jumped.
So this again brings back the conversation about mental health. Now, I don't know if this is true, but one of the reports that I read was that she was on her way inside a car, having a conversation with him, and then she told the driver to stop, and she got out of the car and jumped into the lagoon. We don't know what the conversation was that ensued, but it's just a reminder that people's minds are fragile. Sometimes it just takes one little decision that seems, seemingly inconsequential decision to make them snap. So it's important. It's why we talk about people checking their mental health, going to get therapy as much as possible. I don't know what the situation is, but it's just a very, very sad story. There are lots of people that are, there's also another story of somebody whose partner broke up with him or her, and then the person ended up committing suicide.
We hear those cases so frequent. So frequently. Let's move on now. Lagosian burns wife to death. Another sad story you might want to read inside of the Punch. Why burn your wife to death? Why?
When you can walk away from the marriage, what's the worst that can happen?
No, you're not interested again. Look for something else.
I don't know that provocation will cut this because you took time, carried fuel, poured on the person, got lighter, lit them up.
Well, still talking about fire, arson, INEC meets security chiefs today. There's an emergency meeting with INEC. I mean, they saw a lot of PVCs and they had to destroy them, and their offices equally being attacked. We'll talk about that story in between. Farmers kick a CBN holds anchor borrowers program. Oil theft suspects reject extradition, sue federal government. And did you hear that? OB investments in Anambra next to nothing, according to Soludo. That's all I'm taking from the front page of the Punch.
That oil theft suspect story reminds me of a song by this man of blessed memory, Sound Sultan. One day the bushmeat go catch the hunter. So it's looking like bushmeat is going after the hunter in this scenario. All right, let's still stay in this Nigeria. Looking at the front page, 106 days to election. We're counting down. Unfortunate reports have it that INEC offices set ablaze in Ogun, Osun. Simultaneous attacks, very worrisome. Commission laments, summons emergency meeting to discuss disturbing issues. We can see the photograph here. That's the photograph of the building, the sad electoral process that's been under threat. Smuggling, CNPP, Civil Society Coalition wants heads to roll in NNPC. No going back on proposed Naira redesign, says Buhari. There's been a lot of backlash. Immediately the news of the redesign came forward, but the president has come to tell you that there is no going back. So if you're watching this and you have millions and billions of Naira stashed in your house, please take it to the bank, because in a few months or in a few weeks, that Naira will become a legal tender. 2023 campaigns, IGP wants political parties investigate Borno's PDP convoy attack, redeploys post 8 commissioners of police, redeploys and post 8 commissioners of police. Section of Asaba Stadium collapses 18 days to sports festival, kills 3. Oh no, this is sad. And the final story this morning, domestic debt. Federal government owe oil producing states over 2.1 trillion naira as of June 2022. Now let's head out of Nigeria to Uganda.
That's right. We're going to Uganda. We must say that a lot of the front pages this morning are not encouraging at all. They might, if you find these stories discouraging to you and may even affect your mental health, we'll advise that you possibly try to get the interesting stories to read. But let's also bring these to you so you can still keep yourself inundated with the latest news from the continent of Africa. Daily Monitor has it that businessman Ham sues Kabaka over Kigo land. It's all about a land dispute. You want to read about it? Well, businessman Hamis Kigundu argues that the Commissioner of Land Registration erred in law when they allegedly ordered cancellation of his freehold land titles without evidence of overlap over Milo. So read about that and you know it's business, and of course it's got to do with no other than the commissioner. Well, let's move on to another story. Jobs opportunities at Food for the Hungry, Water Aid, EDC, USAID, DAI, future options. I like what Daily Monitor does. They give you a reason to check and see if you can get employed. Another story, Scoop. Sheba shifts gears ahead of concert. That's got to do with the entertainer. Punish errant Uganda airline bosses, says MPs. Read up about that. And the big one, I left that for the last. 27 miss PLE after director vanishes. Pupil collapses during examination, dies. The director of the school did not come back after promising to return with a van to chauffeur the pupils to Mpasana Primary School, where the exams were being conducted. This forced them to trek to the center, but they arrived too late and one of them even died. You have the pictures of the pupils, some of the pupils who missed the PLE.
On the one hand, we're talking about this. On another hand, we're talking about the 8 children that have died as a result of Ebola. It's just a lot that's going on in Uganda right now. But let's move away from Uganda, still looking at the front pages in East Africa. And this is Kenya, of course, on the Daily Nation. The big story there says, MCAs want their pay tripled. Okay, an MCA will earn close to 400,000 shillings besides being awarded a development budget if proposals by the County Assemblies Forum are adopted. The clamor for a pay rise by the 2,100 MCAs, coming on the back of similar demands by the 416 MPs, will only worsen the country's wage bill crisis at a time limited public resources are also being gobbled up by repayment of a choking public debt. This is not looking good. Still on the front page, organ donation or theft. Family seeks answers on missing parts. Now, this is, of course, referring to the situation when the body of Amani Justin Luwali arrived in Kenya from Italy, came with instruction from her in-laws for her family not to open the coffin, but to proceed with the burial. But they're saying, how do we bury someone without confirming if it was indeed her? And when they did, they found what they found shocked them. That's very, very sad. still talking about gender-based violence. We'll be looking into this much later on in the show this morning. It's something that we need to keep speaking about. Lupita's parents at Wakanda premiere is the most heartwarming thing. If you look at the top left corner of the paper, you can see her parents doing the Wakanda Forever pose, and that's just the most heartwarming thing. Kisumu Governor Anyang Nyong'o and his wife Dorothy were the star attraction of the night, mingling and taking pictures with fans before the screening started. Court proposes Judiciary Office to assess evidence as Gachagua case withdrawn. We talked about this yesterday, and the case has officially been withdrawn, and court is asking the Judiciary Office to assess evidence. And the final story, this is coming from the camps of Raila Odinga's team. The camp says, lawlessness and impunity creeping back. Opposition Chief Raila Odinga has accused President Ruto's government of abetting lawlessness and impunity, citing last week's incident where criminal gangs acting as auctioneers raided and demolished a family's home in Nairobi. The move by the DPP to drop cases against government officials, as well as widespread incidences of daylight crimes and profiling of the DCI. Ruto has his hands full. There's a lot of work that he needs to do.
One step at a time.
One step at. So that's the question people are asking. The elections happened in August. Swearing happened barely 2 months ago, if I'm correct. Is that enough time for them to have seen a drastic change? What kind of economy was Ruto inheriting? He was inheriting
debt.
An economy shrouded in debt, sunken in debt, right? There was a lot of challenges. So it's not something that will switch overnight. So on the one hand, whilst there's that argument, on the other hand, people are saying we want to see the impact, we want to see the reason why this man has stepped in, we want to see a change. But let us know, to our Kenyan audience, what are your thoughts about the current administration so far? Are you impressed?